When teaching online, you're separated from your students in space and in some cases also in time. Clear, structured, empathetic and effective communication is therefore crucial for student retention and success. It's important to create a sense of community to prevent students from feeling isolated. Like face-to-face communication, online communication should aim at bonding, sharing information and understanding. Fostering a sense of community in online courses makes the learning experience more meaningful for students and helps them to stay connected throughout the course. Our learning management system has built-in communication tools, and there are various other digital tools to help you to bridge the gap between you and your students. There are clear advantages and disadvantages of online communication that need to be considered when planning an online community engagement process. In short, the advantages of online communication include that it is more flexible, better documented, and can encourage reflection. Purely text-based online communication, however, lacks physical cues and could risk information overload and in some cases be more tiring. In addition to the advantages and disadvantages, it's also important to distinguish between synchronous and asynchronous communication. Synchronous communication is live and instant, so when you send a message, the recipient processes the information and responds immediately. Think, for example, of a live chat or a video-based tutorial or lecture. Asynchronous communication is when students are online at different moments and time goes by between the questions and responses, for instance, when using text-based tools like email, discussion boards or blogs. An instructor should be committed and actively present for successful guidance of individual online learners. Building a personal relationship requires a different approach in an online setting than for physical meetings. Even more than with face-to-face contact, you will need to consider, preferably in advance, how you will shape your contact moments in terms of guidance, interaction, and communication. Here are some examples of how to provide online guidance, making use of various channels or tools. Be clear what type of information you will communicate and with which channels. Use announcements for reminders or important messages. The main advantage here is that every student that logs into your course will immediately see what's new. You can also send direct messages to groups of students. The main advantage here is efficiency and tailoring directly to the information needs of the specific group. However, there's also a chance that some students may miss the group message. Therefore, we strongly advise you to urge your students to log in regularly so they don't miss important information. Discussion boards, also known as forums, are a great way to organise online group discussions. They're interactive and they can be structured to support other activities. For instance, you could set up a number of discussion topics per week that relate to the course literature or to a current assignment. You could grade participation or require a certain number of original posts and a certain number of reactions to other posts. You could encourage students to be constructive and reflective, or you could ask them to cite articles to demonstrate their understanding and their information literacy skills. You can also set deadlines. If you set the example of being visibly active on a discussion board, students are more likely to become active participants. Discussion boards may also be used for Q&As or for organising collaborative group work. Setting up a general discussion board doesn't guarantee that it will be used for its intended purpose, let alone be used at all. Always link it to a clear function or assignment, and be sure that you come back to the discussions regularly, either by responding or by referring to them during meetings. To make yourself more visible, you could create a blog. In education, blogs can serve many purposes. You could use it to keep your students up to date about the progress of the course, or to share the latest news. By allowing students to respond and comment on the blog posts, you can facilitate more interaction. You could invite students to write blogs or blog posts themselves to encourage them to reflect on their learning process. The downside of a blog is that you have to write regularly, read comments and respond to them. Obviously, this takes time. Chats offer a way for multiple students to ask questions synchronously, get immediate feedback, and benefit from all of the answers. However, when working with larger groups, it can be difficult because you could easily lose the overview. Some students may dominate, while some may be too slow to get their contributions sent at the right time. On the other hand, students can review the chats afterwards. Today, there are many tools that facilitate virtual classrooms. The main advantage of conferencing software is that you can see the students in real time. Having to attend a synchronous meeting also helps to keep the students motivated to keep up with the planned material. However, sessions need to be scheduled, and sometimes busy schedules, different time zones, or technological problems make it difficult to have a synchronous session. Recording video lectures for later viewing can partly solve this problem. Finally, you can respond to individual students directly via telephone, email, chat, or video conferencing. The advantage here is that you can provide students with specific and personalised quality feedback and support. However, it can be time-consuming, so pick your moments of individual feedback wisely. Studying online can be quite a lonely activity, which is why it's important for teachers to be visible and accessible for their students. So to end this knowledge clip, we would like to give you some general tips to establish a strong online visibility. As an instructor, reach out to your students regularly. Let them know you're there. Create a blog, discussion group, or something similar. Post a picture of yourself and write a small bio. Also indicate how and when you can be reached. Record a short introduction video or write an introduction text with your picture. Post this within the online learning management system. Respond to student contributions in the discussion boards or their blog replies. But bear in mind, it's also important to give them enough time and space for students to respond to each other. But you'll also have to intervene to guide the students in the right direction and to provide constructive feedback. You can post a written message or video after each week, summarising and reflecting on the contribution or work done by the students. Specify their names when you do so that the students feel more connected and encouraged to continue. On a final note, we want to address the use of tools outside the learning management system. There are many tools available for online communication. However, Maastricht University only has licenses for a limited number of them. We strongly recommend that you stick to the fully licensed or the recommended tools, as they are supported by the university and are GDPR compliant. An overview of available tools can be found in the tool wheel. Developed by the university library, the tool wheel helps to find your way around the jungle of online tools. It distinguishes between tools that are licensed by UM and those that are not licensed but are still recommended and alpha value. In-depth information on each tool is also provided here. Having said this, please be aware that students often use social media to communicate with their peers. Of course, as a member of teaching staff, you can also utilise these as a means of communication. But you need to keep in mind that you're not allowed to share any of the students' personal data via unlicensed tools. We wish you smooth sailing in designing your online communication.